month of May every year is Asian Heritage Month. So there's a society in Vancouver that puts this on called the Vancouver Asian Heritage Month Society. And what they try to do is highlight arts and culture and history involving all the communities of Asian descent that are in Vancouver. So that can be everything from Filipino to Chinese to Japanese to Vietnamese to South Asian and Iranian. And so this organization, I feel, performs a very valuable service in Vancouver to educate people about arts and culture and younger people about their heritage. Well, on Saturday night, I was quite shocked to hear that they're going to give me an award, even though I'm not of Asian descent, as you can probably tell, as a Community Builder Award. And they're also going to give one to Scott McIntyre, who's a longtime publisher in Vancouver and the co-founder of Douglas and McIntyre Books. And I said to them, well, why would you want to give a couple of white guys an award for Vancouver Asian Heritage Month Society? And they were very, very, very gracious about this. And they said they wanted to recognize efforts being made in the mainstream community to draw attention to Vancouver's Asian heritage. And Scott McIntyre, I think, is a very worthy recipient. He has published many writers of Asian descent for a long, long time, and his most famous discovery was Wei-Sun Choi. And Wei-Sun Choi grew up in Chinatown. He wrote a book called The Jade Peony, which is in schools across the country, and it focuses on him as a boy, or it's a novel about boys going to school in Chinatown in Vancouver. And Wei-Sun Choi he now lives in Toronto, but he's a very, very celebrated, prominent Canadian writer. Scott McIntyre also published Sky Lee, whose Disappearing Moon Cafe was a novel in the early 1990s, which focused on the Wong family through 4 different generations. In addition, one of the most interesting books I think Douglas and McIntyre published was called Saltwater City by Paul Yee. And this book focused on the history of the Chinese in Vancouver and their contributions and how they overcame racism. A beautiful book. There was a 2006 edition with just stories of all the people of Chinese descent who've helped build our city and create a better community. Scott McIntyre also published several books by David Suzuki, who's a very, very well-known environmentalist, one of the champions of the environment in Canada. And David Suzuki is of Japanese descent, and he was a university professor. And so then I said, well, if you're giving an award to Scott McIntyre, who's had all these great achievements, why would you want to give one to me? And I think what it is at the Georgia Strait, what we've tried to do is focus on the history of people from Asia or whose roots go back to Asia, and also focus on diversity within communities, because you can go, if you look at mainland China, for instance, the people from Beijing or the northerners may be quite different in a lot of ways culturally and in terms of their tastes than, say, the people from Shanghai or the people from Fujian or the people from Guangdong. So what we've tried to do at the Georgia Strait is highlight that when you get a big country like China or India, that it's not everyone's the same from that one country. So if you look at India as an example, there are many states in India. Most of the people of Indian descent who are in Vancouver trace their roots back to a northern state called Punjab. But increasingly in recent years, we're seeing more people coming from other parts of India, whether it's states like Maharashtra, Uttar Pradesh, West Bengal, or the South Indians from places like Kerala or Tamil Nadu. So what we try to do at the Georgia Strait is help people understand the differences within communities, and by doing that, helping to promote more understanding of our diverse society. So for that, the Vancouver Asian Heritage Month Society has decided to honor us, and I'm very pleased and proud and appreciate the contributions of our staff members, particularly those of Asian descent. We've got a Philippine Canadian named Carlito Pablo. Carolyn Ali, whose father traces his roots back to Trinidad and then back to West Bengal. And then we also have Craig Takeuchi, who's of Japanese descent, Michelle De Silva, who's of Chinese descent, and Stephen Hoy, who's of Chinese descent, and they've all helped me in terms of understanding how things go. So on Saturday night, there's going to be a big dinner, and it should be lots of fun. And if you're able to come out, it's at the Pink Pearl Restaurant starting at 6 p.m. That's the Vancouver Asian Heritage Month Society. So for WOW TV, I'm Charlie Smith, Zhong Benji, Georgia Strait, and thank you very much.